PM Magazine. I'm Jim Finnerty. This is a drag racer owned by driver Lou Sattelmaier, a man who's translated his victories on the drag strip into a personal message to young people about drugs and God. Lou is a born-again Christian, and tonight on PM Magazine, we'll go with him to the drag strip and the classroom for a presentation I'm sure you'll find unique. Sattelmaier began drag racing in 1955 in a '39 Chevy owned by his father. But his life really changed when he paid $400 for a 1932 Ford Coupe, a car now worth more than $30,000. The man behind the wheel of the '32 Ford Deuce Coupe is nationally known drag racer Lou Sattelmaier, one of the top drivers of the National Hot Rod Association. Traveling down the 1,320 feet of a quarter-mile drag strip, his car will reach 150 miles an hour in less than 9 seconds.
When I'm racing down a quarter-mile course, it's really a natural high I'm getting in that race car. It's just dynamite. The feeling you get, you push back in the seat by 2 G's of force or more, and you're accelerating in 9 seconds, 150 miles an hour. And that parachute comes out and you have a reverse G-force. It's just a wild feeling, to say the least. I feel it's a lot better to get your highs naturally from things you like to do. And we hear about the highs today, the artificial highs, the bad habits and things. I'm sure that you're aware of those. Can you guess what those are? There's 3 of them right now I'm thinking of that are very harmful to your health. Smoking is 1. Okay, now we're getting on the right track. Drugs is 2, and drinking. Milk's okay, but drinking alcohol can be harmful, right?
Off the drag strip, Lou Sattelmaier 2 or 3 times a week can be found in school, lecturing on drugs, and his contention that a natural high like drag racing, sports, or hobbies can far exceed the highs he sees too many kids these days getting from drugs.
What would you do if your best friend was to offer you drugs and maybe called you chicken if you didn't do it? Yes? You'd rather be called chicken than get sick, right? That's a good start. Okay. In 1971, when I was driving a truck, the place went out of business, and I decided to try to make a living with a race car. And the whole world seemed to be against me because it didn't seem like a very logical thing to do, especially with a family of 4 children at the time. And I ran up against a brick wall at first, and I asked the good Lord to help me, to make a decision for me. And the Lord showed me in my heart that go ahead and do it, and I'll open doors for you. And my children one day asked me to bring my race car to their school for a show and tell. And I saw the keen interest with the kids at school, and I also related with the anti-drug work that was being done and the drug problems of today, and I put together a program that the natural high I get on racing, of course, and also the trip I take, my 9-second trip in a quarter mile, compared to the trips we hear about today about drugs and so on. So I put together a program that would try to help youngsters to stay away from some of the bad habits and get into something they like to do. Oh, I've won about 40 races with this car already.
How many did you lose?
Well, we don't talk about losing. You know, we've lost a few, but nothing to brag about, I guess. You want to see the inside of the car?
Yeah!
Okay. Racing in general is an exciting sport. They tend to see it on television and so on, and to see a real race car up close, it's quite a thrill for them. To talk to a race driver and ask questions as another, and they seem to really believe what you have to say because you're in a sport that's a little different. I believe it's important to reach the youngsters at an early age because they are very impressible. They are impressed by things. They are absorbing things very quickly, readily. As you well know, a child will seem to listen or believe before they even see, and it's just that way. And I believe that it's important because there's a lot of drugs going on in the early, well, not early ages, but the top grades in elementary school. They know about it. You can see by their looks when you talk about it. You can see the little jabs back and forth and the little giggles, you know, that they know what's happening. You talk to them later and they tell me about it, and they say, yeah, there's a lot of drugs floating around. and that it's really sad, and we're glad you came.
Lou is a member of a growing organization called the Fellowship of Christian Racers. Other drivers like him who spread the ministry through their work. Race car reverends, if you will.
If you confess success, you're going to be successful. Did you know that? You know, you are right now, you're at right now because of your words that you've said, your mom and dad have said, whatever. You have become what your words have said. Words can make a big difference in your life. As you well know, words can start wars, and words can also create peace, right? You take a person and ridicule them a lot and tear them down and call them stupid and everything, they'll turn out that way normally. If you build a person up, if you're going to talk about somebody, always do it in a way of building that person up. It's so very, very important. You can take and try to force somebody to do something or show him love, and he's going to respond to love much more faster than he does to force, right? Okay, please keep that in mind. I think it's important to realize that there are things out there in the world that can be damaging to our health, and we have to make the choices, don't we? I really believe that you have to really make your choices right now. And when you do grow through the years, you'll see a lot of temptations come against you, and I have many in my lifetime as well. And I thank God that at 43 years old right now that I stayed away from some of the habits like drugs and so on, and it made a difference in my life, how I feel today.
Incidentally, in 24 years of racing, Lou Sattelmaier has never had a crash or a serious injury. He says it's another example of faith that he wishes to continue. Our departments are up next on PM Magazine. Kathy will have those when we come back.